guys, welcome back. Thanks for watching my video. So I asked on my Instagram what everybody wanted my next video to be about, and almost everybody picked our failed transfer, so here I am. I'm going to tell you guys everything that happened, how the injections were, and all that good stuff. So we started all of this back in January. We had our consult with the doctor at Shady Grove, and he was super nice. He went over all the questions we had. He went over just some general information, over Jacob's test results again. And we talked about my endometriosis and my polycystic ovarian syndrome. So we already knew that we had to skip over IUI and go straight to IVF, which we had already come to terms with. We found that out in November. So the rest of January, I did my saline sonogram, my mock transfer, and my HSG. And then we came back the very end of January and had another consult where we went with my nurse and we figured out the dates of everything, and I started my birth control in February. So my last birth control pill was March 7th, and then I started my injections on the 11th. And from there, I did 13 days of injections. The 14th day was my trigger shot. And I started with 1 vial of Menopur and 187.5 units of Gonal-F, and then my last day, I was up to 3 vials of Menopur and 300 units of Gonal-F. So it went up quite a bit, but my follicles were growing. They were just growing a little slower than what they thought they would. So I was glad that they gave me the extra days and gave the rest of them some extra time to catch up so they could get the most that they could. So from my baseline appointment, which was the very first one before I started stims, which is what they call the injections, I had 22 follicles, and they ended up retrieving 14, which is totally normal. They don't all grow, and then my left ovary sits like back and down, like really weird. Anytime I have a sonogram, they need to look at it. It takes 2 people because someone has to like push down on my stomach really hard. So they retrieved 14. 11 of them were mature and 10 of them fertilized with ICSI, and they only do day 1 and day 5 embryo reports where I go. So day 1 was where we found out that 11 of them were mature and that they had fertilized 10 of them. And then day 5, at that point we only had 3 that were where they needed to be, so I got a little nervous. I really wanted like 4 or 5 to freeze, and we ended up, they gave the rest of them a couple days to catch up. We ended up with 6 blastocysts. And so we froze 5 of them because we only transferred 1 last time. We wanted to transfer 2, but our doctor sort of talked us out of it with the risks. Transferring 2 only increases our chance by getting pregnant by like 5%, he said, but it increases our risk of having multiples by 50%. So for the first time, we said, okay, fine, we'll transfer 1. And we did a 5-day transfer, so my retrieval was on the 26th of March, and my transfer was on the 31st. So I sort of just had this feeling that it wasn't going to work the first try. Jacob and I have never really had anything come easy to us our entire relationship, but I started testing with home tests at 5 days past my transfer, and it was negative. And everyone was like, oh, it's still so early. Like, I didn't get my positive till like 7 or 8, so I tested 7, 8, 9, and 10 days past my transfer. And there wasn't even like the faintest there was nothing. So I was upset, like went into it like, okay, like this could work, but it might not work, so like don't get too excited. So I was upset, but I tried to like bury it down, so like because I didn't want everyone to know, and I still had to go on for my blood draw just to make sure. And they called me that afternoon, and it was sort of like a gut punch because it was like for real, like there was nothing, like my levels were at 0, I hadn't been pregnant, and it's just frustrating because I went through so much and then it didn't work, and so I was upset. I'm still upset that it didn't work, but we geared up and we were going to do a transfer the next month, and then my car stopped working and we thought it was the transmission, so we had to cancel our transfer that month. So here we are now. I'm done my birth control. I had to do 3 weeks of birth control, and I'm on my estrogen to build my lining back up, and then we're not going to give exact dates like we didn't last time, but within the next 2 weeks I'm going to be starting my progesterone and oil, which is an intramuscular shot that Jacob's going to have to give me on my backside. So those should be fun. He's never given a shot before, so I'm a little nervous for that one. Plus it's super thick, and I've heard some not so great stories about it, but I mean, whatever I gotta do. And then about a week after that, give or take, is our transfer, and we are transferring to this time. When the doctor called me and told me that our transfer didn't work, I told him that we were really adamant about transferring to this time because just we only have 3 tries on our insurance, which we're so thankful and blessed that we even have that, because a lot of people pay out of pocket and it's so expensive. It's like $25,000, $30,000+, and there's no way we could afford that if we didn't have insurance coverage. So thankfully we do, but I told him we only have 3 tries, so I don't want to not take full advantage of any of them. So he said he totally understood. He just wanted to make sure that we again understood that our risk of having multiples goes up by 50%, and we do. We're totally fine with that. We're going to take whatever is given to us. We just hope that we have a healthy baby, healthy me, and a healthy pregnancy. So that's it for that. These things that I have here are just these little things that have helped me through everything. This is like a little notebook I got from Walmart, and I write literally everything in this. So anytime anyone calls me about our fertility, our IVF, our test results, everything gets written down in here. So anytime if I call like the pharmacy, I write down what pharmacy it was, their phone number, their hours that they're open, and then whatever we talked about. And then the appointments I had, and then here's my list of medication that I was on for my first transfer. It looks like a lot, but these last ones is like my needle, syringe, and my container. But then the rest of these are the medication that I had to take at some point during my last cycle. This cycle is way easier. It's literally my birth control for 3 weeks, which I'm done. The estrogen, and then the progesterone and oil, which I'll have to take that up through my first trimester if, and hopefully when we get pregnant. I have to be on that one for a while. But this is what I call our IVF binder. It's pretty thick. I keep everything else in here. Anytime they ever give me a paper, I keep it. And then this is our embryo from last time that didn't stick. I had this in our fridge for a while, but then it just got sort of depressing looking at it every day. So I put it in here because I didn't want to get rid of it. I have my hospital bands, like pens and stuff. And then I keep, this is my protocol from the first time. So it says when I was supposed to start this and stop, and then start, stop, everything else. And then my transfer, they send me all kinds of stuff in the mail, and then they always give me like these little pamphlets or brochures about like, this one's about our transfer, and then there's like frequently asked questions, stuff about our freezing our embryos, and just everything else, because you like literally are signing your life away when you do this. I have to sign everything off before I do anything, which I understand why. It's just, it's crazy. So that's what I use for that folder for. And then this next folder that's back here is the bad folder. It has all of our bills in it. Like I said, we do have insurance coverage, but it's still not free. We've racked up close to probably $3,000 for just the last one. And most of it honestly has been medication, and then our embryo freezing, which is originally $1,800, but we our part of this is called like Shared Health Program. So we only paid $1,350, which I mean is still a lot of money. But so I always make sure that I get a paper copy of whatever we're getting billed or anything else, because I like to have multiple copies in case something ever comes back that we didn't pay it or whatever, because everyone that knows us knows we don't make like $1 million a year, and I mean, even if we did, this is still expensive. So I like to have a paper copy, a copy in my email. It has its own little like folder in my email, and then I like to, obviously it's in our bank statement. So I keep all of that, and then on this side is like all the inserts out of the medications that I get. I keep all of those for, I don't know, I just keep them. So so I think that's it. It's just been crazy. It's like just an emotional, like mental, financial, just everything it could be, it is. And then it's hard on Jacob too. Obviously I can't speak for him, but I know he's had a hard time with how everything's gone. Just, he couldn't be with me for my retrieval surgery because of a work situation, so my mom had to go with me. It's just been like nuts. I don't even know. There's like no words to even like actually describe like what we've been going through. It's just like a mental like exhaustion, like constantly, like, because then they're like, oh, well, try not to think about it. It's like, how do I not think about it? I have to take medication every single day. I have to make sure I take my prenatal, make sure I take my vitamins, make sure I do my B12 shots. I'm gonna eventually have to make sure I'm taking my progesterone shots. I have to make sure that I schedule all my appointments, pay for them, go to them, make sure I have someone to watch Jace. This cycle, like I said, has been a lot easier because it's just the 2 appointments, my transfer, and then just the 2 medications. But last cycle was, I had like 10 appointments, 6 of which were 6 straight days in a row. Some of them were in Rockville. It just is like exhausting, and like I try and be positive like when I post about it on Facebook or Instagram. But truthfully, like, this process sucks. Like, I hate that we have to go through this because everyone's always like, oh, you guys are so young, like you have time on your side, and it really pisses me off because we don't. I mean, I just turned 22, but I have advanced endometriosis. It's cystic, it comes back. It's just, we have all kinds of issues going on over here. I'm gonna have to have a hysterectomy in a couple of years, so we don't have time. Like, we want this now, we want to grow our family. Like, it's just frustrating. I know people, when they say stuff like that, they're trying to be like positive, but it's not. It just pisses me off. And I know for a lot of people it does the same thing. I just try and be like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks, like, but it's frustrating, especially when it's someone that has no clue what we're going through. And I know that if you haven't been through it, there's no way for you to even be able to fathom the feelings, like everything that we're going through. It's like you have to have gone through it to know, and I totally understand that. And I'm so thankful and so blessed with the support we've received from our family, our friends, strangers, just whoever. I'm an open book for the most part about everything in this journey. So if anyone has any questions or whatever, I love to answer them because I love having people wanting to learn about it, wanting to know what's wrong, why we have to go through it, the process of it. I love explaining it to people because when you're going through it, it's easy to get mad at people that like ask you certain questions, but honestly, most people don't have any clue what IUI or IVF is, or ICSI, or why you have to do it, or people don't even really know what endometriosis or PCOS are. So I like to try and educate people. I still get mad. I try not to because I know it's not their fault. Some people can be very ignorant because some people don't believe in any fertility treatments, which that's fine. That's your beliefs. We have our beliefs, obviously, because we're going through it. So it's just crazy. Like, I don't know. It's just like my mind's like been in a fog since we started because I'm like, I try not to think about it, but when I try not to think about it, I think about it. And then like going into this next transfer, I'm trying not to get too excited because I'm like, well, it could not work. But then I'm like, well, it should work. But I mean, you have no clue because we didn't do PGS testing, so it's not like we know if anything's even wrong with the embryos. But we chose not to do that for cost and just personal reasons. And it's just annoying and frustrating that there's not a guarantee. It's not like, oh, well, if you do up to 3 like transfers, you'll get pregnant during one of them. I could do 20 transfers and still not ever get pregnant again. And it's just, that's scary to think about. I've always wanted a bigger family. We would love to have at least 3 kids. So whether we get them this way or if we ever have to adopt, we will definitely grow our family at some point. Hopefully we will get some good news in the next couple of months that we did get pregnant. But if not, you know, I mean, we're going to take some time off and just focus on us, focus on little man, gear back up, and hopefully do another one. But that being said, I'm hoping to keep my fingers and toes and everything crossed that this next transfer works and we won't even have to worry about that. So I think that's it. Sorry I went on a little bit of a rant, but it's frustrating. So like this video and subscribe if you guys want to keep following what's going on. You can comment below, private message me, whatever, any ideas you have or anything you want me to talk about. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you later. Bye!